Episcopal Church, known as AME, have accused the church leadership of stealing their pension contributions. They allege that some retired pastors have yet to receive their pension payouts. Some have even died. Today, they marched to the church's Johannesburg headquarters to submit a memorandum of demands.
An unlikely call by unlikely people, pastors, reverends and bishops, accusing their church leader of submitting only half of their annuity contributions to a pension scheme.
The first time I knew there was trouble with the money, we were at the conference when everybody queried, when he said there was no money.
Close to retirement is 63-year-old Reverend Mthunzi Mzangwa. He's been serving for over 4 decades.
I don't want to be an added statistic. I know our brothers have gone by, and some of them are not paid even now. I feel what is going on now, it is a betrayal to the legacy of the bishops of the church.
The prime suspect, presiding Bishop Paul Carwyn Bay, is alleged since his arrival in 2012, there has never been an approved budget.
We therefore demand a forensic audit to look into the finances of the 19th Episcopal District from the time of your arrival. We demand the accountability and a comprehensive report on the clergy and spouses pension, risk insurance under the Sanlam Umbrella Fund.
A dignified church with a rich history, now clouded by allegations of pension fraud.
Do you know anything about this?
No.
You don't know anything about
No,
this?
nothing.
You know nothing?
Nothing. So they are just telling me now what they are talked about.
The bishop has been given 14 days to respond or face a lawsuit. SABC News, Johannesburg.
Well, for more on that story, we're now joined by one of the leaders of today's march, Reverend Dimpo Gaubepe. Thank you very much for joining us and welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir.
It's not a great sight for society to see priests marching over allegations of theft within a church. This must be heartbreaking for you, as it's difficult for us to watch.
Yes, it is very difficult for this to happen in our church, the African Methodist Episcopal Church. And it is painful for us to go out there as pastors of the church and display this against our leadership in the church. I always say to people that when you are in the church, the first person that comes today is God. And after God, it is the bishop who holds the highest office in the church. And then come pastors, and we preach stewardship, and accountability comes first in terms of the word of God.
So what led to the march? I mean, you know, one would think that priests, you can sit down, talk things out in a mature way under God's supervision and sort issues out. But what happens that you had to march?
We had to march because we tried to employ all the processes and procedures within the church as it is dictated by the positive law of the church. And in our annual conferences, which are autonomous bodies that makes decisions, where pastors account for the money that are being given to us by the congregation, paying what we call conference budgets into the account that is in the hands of the bishop and his administrative assistants and his staff in the head office. So we've tried to raise those issues in formal annual conferences, conventions of young people, of those who are not ordained as pastors, and mothers of the church, as you see them, were part of the march to try and get a solution. The last thing we do, we elevated the matter. The AME is in 48 countries, as I'm speaking to you. It's a connectional church, it's one body. So we had to elevate the issue to the Bishops' Council. that is responsible for oversight during the interim of our our general conference, which comes every after 4 years. To this day, we have not received the answer that would make actually those who are affected to see that the church is lessening.
Are priests across the country affected, or is it just certain areas?
Priests across the country, you know, in each and every organization, there will be those who agree with you and those who don't agree with you. We are about 240 priests in the 19th Episcopal district. We've got 2 districts, what you can call region. The 15th district, which is the Western Cape, only those 3 provinces, including Namibia and Angola. So we are the remaining provinces in the country.
How is it that Bishop Carwyn Bay has absolute control of the cash? How is it? Is it your church not properly set up, that there's an accounting officer, that accounts are audited, that there are records of banking, receipts? Are there none of those controls?
The church has good controls. That is why it is required by the law of the church that all bishops in the AME church, when they do their planning, once they are assigned to a particular country, the first thing that is required is that they must establish what we call the budget committee, which is a mixture of pastors and non-pastors. And it actually, the law of the church encourages that you must make sure that we have qualified accountants and whatever to do that. We never had this problem before with the past bishops. They established the committees. The only problem is when this Bishop Carwyn Bay, was assigned to us from 2012 up to this day.
What do you think is happening to the money?
Well, they are misusing the money, mishandling the money, and using the money for their own personal interest.
So they don't have to account for any money that they spend?
Look, they're supposed to account. They are required to give annual audited financial statement. And we started calling on those at each and every conference. After reporting, they are required to provide us with financial statements. We've been calling for those, and they were not coming up. And this triggered this whole thing.
You've written this letter to the bishop. If he doesn't do anything, what are you going to do? I mean, you know, if you're talking as if fraud has happened here, which means you should have taken this to the police and the authorities. Have you done that?
We said, because we have followed the internal processes of the church, and the next step that we are going to take, because we are expecting him to respond within the next coming 14 days, particularly when it comes to the issue of the pension, because in terms of the law of the church, the pension fund scheme is sort of the district project. There are no clear rules as to how you deal with the pension fund within the church. The only resort and our recourse, it is to open the case, a criminal case, because we have indicated to the bishops of the church in the United States, and I know some of them are watching me right now, we have indicated to them that this thing is a criminal issue in the country, and we need your intervention, and failure for them to do so. I mean, a lot of pastors, you saw the old men speaking over there, for over 40 years in ministry. You just stop their risk fund, their life cover, and nothing is happening. The interest, they lost on interest.
Is the church solvent? Maybe that you don't have money, that's why you can't afford to make these payments.
There is no way that we cannot have money. One of the things that I need to speak to is that over and above what we are giving for pensions, the connectional church, which is international church, treasury of the church, gives us money every year in dollars. And we also want to know the accounts that money is being deposited into, because they are not disclosed to us. And we've been trying internally to deal with it. We are stewards of whatever that God is giving his people, and we must be accountable. Accountability, it's God's interest, and as pastors we must do so. We did not go to the commission because we had systems. If we did not have systems like other people, we could have run to the commissions. So that is why we are saying, let's press it this way and see if the church is not going to adhere to the demands of the members that are concerned.
All right, we have to leave it there, but very briefly, in a couple of seconds, what are the churchgoers saying about this? They must be concerned. Have they been sharing their thoughts with you?
Yes. I mean, let me give you an example. In the whole district, we've got what we call the lay organization, which is an organization of all those who are not ordained. They have written a letter of support to the pastors, because we've been quiet as pastors, and they were part of the march today, and they are calling for the same thing. And it is for the first time in the history of the church, both those who are not ordained and those that are ordained agree on an issue. This is how serious this is.
Okay, Reverend, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you very much indeed. We'll continue to follow this story and see how things develop, but thank you very much for sharing your thoughts with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so that was Reverend Dimpo Gaupepe sharing his thoughts with us, joining us in studio. Meanwhile, the leader of the African Methodist Episcopal Church, Bishop Carwyn Bay, has denied all these allegations. He spoke to our reporter, Mahatleka Motlabe, shortly after accepting the memorandum.
Memorandum, and we'll be responding in due course. Thank you.
But then what do you know about these issues that have been raised?
No, thank you. We'll be responding. We invite you to come and get the answers when we get it. Thank you.
We just want your response on this one. What do you know about this
Thank
issue?
you so much. I'm leading them now. So we'll respond when I read them.
But do you know anything about this?
No.
You don't know anything about
Nothing.
You know nothing.
Nothing. So they are just telling me now what they talked about.
So, but then are you denying all these allegations about memorandum?
I received the memorandum. I will respond. We'll call you when you come.
All right.
We'll call you.
Okay.
All right. Which press are you from?
This is SABC.
We'll call you.
Okay.
All right. We'll call you. Thank you so much.
Meanwhile, Nigerian pastor